I started getting hammered. And then people start saying, oh, he's a drunk. And then I didn't care. I was kind of like, okay, if I'm going to be called drunk, I may as well get drunk, you know?
It wasn't until for about 4 years ago with my divorce that my alcohol intake absolutely accelerated, literally overnight.
Yeah, so I suppose my relationship with alcohol started when I was about 17. I became, over a course of a few years, I started to become basically a daily drinker. Things got very, very bad, and life started to take a dark turn, so I think enough kind of came together for me to realize that I needed to change, or else my life was really going to fall apart. Well, actually, the GP set me up with help, and he gave me the number, and I rang, and I wasn't waiting too long, and I got a phone call back. We're taking you on. That's a year and a half ago. I got great support, great communication off my counsellor, and even when we do meet, I know myself the way I've changed, from the way you can talk to him, the way you can listen, the way I listen to him. If that was beforehand, I wouldn't listen to anyone. From day one, I clicked with the counsellor. Just the minute I walked into the room, I just got that feeling. We are going to get on well together. We are going to communicate. And we laugh and joke. We tell bits of funny stories and all that.
When my uncle came to me with this situation, I didn't know where to go or what to do. I had no knowledge of the services. I had no knowledge of how to get him into rehab. I had been recommended to speak to somebody in the IAS. So I personally got their phone call, or their phone number, rang them, and that's how we made the connection initially. The IAS was a link for us for better communication. And it was that support that we needed as a family to guide us into the detox centre, get him the help he needed. Down to applying for medical cards, it was filling out forms to get into the detox centre. It was filling out forms to get him into temporary accommodation while he was waiting for the rehab centre. It was ringing his doctor on his behalf, explaining the situation, what medication he needed. There's often been times where he was in the rehab centre and he was so nervous and he was like, they're trying to lock me up, they're trying to he felt trapped, and I could ring that person and be like, will you ring my uncle please? And just calm him down for a few minutes and just explain to him what's happening. That for us was so important, because if we didn't have that, he probably would have walked out. So yeah, it was amazing.
So they actually contacted me and told me that they were going to take me on board, and I was delighted. I actually was delighted because I knew that here was what I'd been looking for, was a way out of what had become a bit of a nightmare. Well, the very fact that somebody bothered to go out of their way to contact me and kind of recognize my problem, recognize the situation that I was in, that I was looking for help, and that they understood what I was going through or what I was talking about, well, that was obviously helpful. I felt like that I was in touch with someone here that was going to be able to assist me and help me get out of this hole that I'd gotten into. So now I've got good housing, which I'm eternally grateful to Clare County Council, and IAS helped me get there as well, because they advocated for me.
I knew I needed help because I was walking around with suicide notes in my pocket, and I couldn't go through the day without taking a load of sleeping tablets and probably drinking down on top of it. The thing about the integrated alcohol service, it makes you feel good that you're doing something for yourself. You mightn't stop the drinking straight away, but within a few weeks or months or something like that, you start noticing a difference in your life. You don't really want to drink no more. you know? They make you feel clean. Because when you're drinking and when you're taking tablets and all this stuff, you actually feel dirty. And you can make bad mistakes, and they make you question yourself. They're like life motivators. So now I'm going out doing mountain climbing and everything, you know? And I don't drink all day. I don't take tablets all day.
The HSE at times gets a bad rap, and a lot of people, when they hear about services from the HSE, fuck that, I'll be waiting years. But IAS, I was waiting, I think, a week, and I got in. So they're extremely efficient. They're very quickly to get in. They have funding there for people that residential might suit. And they also offer weekly counselling, which I just find fantastic. And they try to suit it to your needs as best as they can around work. They do various different locations. So they actually came out to my hometown and met me once a week, which I just found invaluable, because at the time, unfortunately, I wasn't driving. I would describe it as tough at times, trying to get to know yourself, taking an honest look at yourself, but very rewarding if you stick with it. But when I gave it a go, this service really did hook me and reel me in, and it really improved my life for the better. I didn't believe that sitting down and talking to somebody was going to do any good, that it was a total waste of their time and mine. But once I started to get to know the guy I was dealing with, I started to trust him. I became very open with him and spoke openly with him. I think that was huge. Once I started to do that, I found that things were getting better. I don't think alcohol was my problem really, but my depression was causing my drinking. Once I started to feel a bit better mentally, I could cope without the drink. And I gradually, over time, cut down on the drink. I think I spoke to the counsellor about things that I'd nearly forgotten on the back of my mind. I suppose the biggest part is being able to open up to somebody that you can gain a trust with. That was the biggest help, I think. But now I've come out the other side looking back on it. I think I was as close to suicide as anybody would ever want to be. And I can't go back there. It's a very frightening place to be.
I just think it's the most genuine service that I've ever been involved in. I think it is just the acceptance. It's just ever since day one. It's just been, right, you've had the courage to ring up and do this, right? So let's see where we can go. I suppose it's made me want to try harder for myself, because I've actually now got a support system there that actually does care if I pick up or I don't pick up again. And I think IAS does that, you know. It's had a fundamental part of my sobriety. There is no doubt about it. Just very supportive, kind, exceptionally kind, human. And as an alcoholic, I always had unhealthy relationships with men. What I found was my counsellor, who was a man, who was male, it was really one of the first times in my life that I was able to have a healthy relationship with a man that I could trust, and I know had my best interests at heart, and that the tidbits of information or suggestions that he'd make, I trusted him. What's changed? A family member said to me, if you changed anymore, you would turn into a cat. I have changed exponentially. I really and truly have. I'm not the same person. Without the IAS, we'd have been lost. They really engage with people. They don't judge you. They don't judge the individual addict. They don't judge the family for whatever reason. They always follow up. And as I said, any help needed, they were there. Just a phone call, all I had to do was pick up the phone. I just made a phone call and I spoke to a lovely girl and she arranged an interview to meet a counsellor. The service, you get a counsellor, you're assigned a counsellor. So you have a counsellor that's there to help you and listen to you, not judge you. That's what I found fantastic. And then financially I was struggling as well. So I had Eleanor in the other corner who was helping me financially. Telling me what services I could go to, where I could get help. It was just an absolutely amazing service, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be sitting here now without them. They listen. They listen. Well, I'm back working full time. And I'm helping people again, which is good. I get up every morning and I have a clear head. My head is clear. My quality of life is absolutely brilliant. I have peace of mind, which is the best thing ever. It's the best feeling. And I have acceptance for myself. I am an alcoholic.
My struggles haven't gone away. I still deal with them. But it's learning to manage with them in a much more productive and healthy way. So I've taken back into social groups. I've started to take back a bit of sport. I just enjoy life a lot more. And I just can't explain how refreshing it is to wake up on a Saturday, Sunday, Monday, whatever morning it is, and the bed not pissed underneath you, and looking around the room for a bottle of vodka. It's just a miracle, it really is. And it's just a great life to be had. And so I have this enthusiasm back. I mean, I'm dying to get home. I've got to feed the cat, and I've got a drawing I've got to finish for Wednesday. And I'm looking forward to seeing a few friends over the weekend. I've got some roofing to do in the cottage. My mother's cooking. I've all these things that I can see again, you know? Because I used to numb them out before.
I was in the darkness, I was. And I just wanted to die and everything like that. I don't want to die anymore. You know what I mean? I want to live and I want to achieve things.
Once I realized I needed help, the first person that I thought of, well, let's ring the GP. I rang the GP, I got an appointment, and I really thought, well, this is step one, you know, this is the start of my help. And my God, I couldn't believe it was so disappointing. I spoke openly to her. She must have known from my tone and from my conversation that I was in a bad place. She offered me antidepressants, and I refused. And that's pretty much all she could do for me. She more or less dismissed me from that. And I came out the door and I said, my God, where am I going now? So I think people have to be aware in the health service that when somebody is reaching out to you and saying, look man, I am in trouble here with my drinking. I really am in trouble. You know, that's a moment to intervene, or to be able to intervene and say, right, here you are, here's the number. Get in touch.
The number, that's all it took. And it's because I use that number that I sit here today, a year and a month sober. The number needs to be visual. Well, my doctor didn't listen to me, but that's my experience. They need to believe the person that's sitting across from them. And not all alcoholics are homeless and living on the street. And a lot of women, they're not listened to. You know, especially women my age. They're just fobbed off. Oh, you're going through a certain patch in your life. You know, you'll be fine. Take the antidepressants. I wasn't listened to. And my doctors, they did fail. They did fail me, I feel. Because I was telling them I had a drinking problem. I think there should be more education. They should know more about it. They should educate themselves more. This service is here. Every doctor should have it now in the country. Every doctor in the country should have this phone number to pass it on to the person that's sitting in front of them. I do think that there should be a better link between the hospital and IAS. Like, for instance, when my uncle went in with stomach issues and he openly told them that he had alcohol issues, there was no one in the hospital to tell him, IAS is here to help you. And I think if that link had been made known quite sooner, he possibly would have done it years ago. When he was in hospital years ago for other issues. I just think it's just a lack of communication between the two services. A few times now, where he's gotten so bad, he called himself an ambulance and presented himself to A&E. And he was left there. And in the end, just looked at and sent home. I think this should be, I know they're busy and the way the hospital is, they should take time to understand more, I think. So I think a little bit more help or understanding from other organisations or even the hospital itself.
I would recommend the IAS, but I feel it is kind of understaffed for the amount of demand that's out there. The people that truly need help. When you get into bad addiction, it's extremely demoralizing, degrading. It strips everything away from you, and it's just horrific. So I would say that healthcare professionals could just take more of an empathetic role to it, as opposed to just, oh, he's just a drunk, leave him there to sober up. I understand it's frustrating. People who are intoxicated are extremely annoying, but at the end of the day, it really is that we're just good people. I think we've lost our way. We're not people trying to be bad. It would have been a friend of mine, and I told him actually how I was feeling. I told him I was feeling like super unhappy, super like suicidal. I was like, I feel like, I've already planned how I'm going to do it. So my buddy contacted somebody, and she contacted the IAS, and then I noticed one of the numbers, and I felt comfortable speaking to this individual. And to be honest, I think if it wasn't there, I would not be here. That's the truth.